What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I am Ken, here today for a 4K review of the latest Arrow release of Dune. David Lynch's Dune from 1984. So yeah, we're going to get into this one, and I'm going to have a good time talking about this movie. But before we do that, guys, I want to ask that if you are not yet a subscriber of the Mid-Level Media channel, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button for more great content. Also, be sure to smash that like button and comment down below if you purchased this newest Arrow release. If you have any thoughts on David Lynch's Dune, if you have seen it. This was a first-time watch for me, so these thoughts are going to be extremely fresh. And yeah, leave me all your thoughts on this movie, this Arrow release if you bought it. What do you think of it in that comment section below? And also be sure to turn on those bell notifications for all future videos. So let's get into this release. So Arrow Video sent me this to review and talk about with you guys last week. I did an unboxing of this and several other Arrow titles that I received from them last week on the channel. I did get a chance to watch this. I finished it right before I started this review. I started it last night. And yeah, we're going to talk about the movie, then we're going to talk about the transfer, we're going to talk about the sound, we're going to talk about this freaking fantastic packaging. I cannot overemphasize just how great of a job Arrow does on the packaging. They're just second to none. They are top, they are the kings of the packaging for these boutique Blu-rays and 4Ks. But and then we're going to talk about the special features for a little bit, which I did get to dig into as well. So let's get into the movie. So the movie itself, like I said, came out in 1984, directed by David Lynch. So this is my third David Lynch film that I've ever seen. I've seen Blue Velvet and I've seen Lost Highway, and now I've seen his Dune. So I believe that's correct. I'm trying to think off the top of my head if there's another one that I've seen, but I don't think so. I haven't seen Mulholland Drive yet. I haven't seen Eraserhead, and I haven't seen The Elephant Man, but I have the criterions for all of those. So potential reviews definitely somewhere down the line. But so far of the ones that I've seen, he's not really a director that's really engaged me or connected to me in any way at this point in time. It's not one that I appreciate him for certain qualities that he brings to his films. Like his cinematic artistry is like incredible. Like just the cinematography, his direction, his skill set, just the authenticity that he brings to all of his films is just incredible. It's just something about the message, something about what he's trying to say. It's just so obscure and bizarre and almost dreamlike in every single movie that I've seen of his so far. And it doesn't fully connect to me. So that's kind of how I feel about David Lynch as a director going into this movie. This movie is starring a freaking incredible cast. There's tons of people in this movie. Kyle MacLachlan, who plays the main character, Paul Atreides, who's going to be played by Timothée Chalamet in the upcoming Denis Villeneuve film. Then you got Virginia Madsen, you got Brad Dourif, you got Patrick Stewart in this movie, like pre-Star Trek, The Next Generation. Max von Sydow post The Exorcist, which I just talked about Max von Sydow in my review of The Seventh Seal. Also Virginia Madsen, just talked about her in my review of Candyman. So this is a very young Virginia Madsen in this movie. Sting in this movie, which is a very strange casting choice, but okay. And you got Dean Stockwell, who I'll always remember from Quantum Leap back in the 90s, I believe, when that show came out. So the cast in this movie, absolutely stacked. Just getting into the story, I'm going to try to break this down the best I can. This movie is very dense. I read the book in my early 20s, and I vaguely remember a lot of the story elements involved there. I remember certain bits and pieces, but not everything. So basically, the synopsis of the film is a Duke's son leads desert warriors against the Galactic Emperor and his father's evil nemesis to free their desert world from rule. So basically, you have two planets. Well, actually, there's three planets. So you have the House Atreides on one planet. You have the House Harkonnen on one planet. And they are basically fighting for the spice that is on planet Arrakis. So they are at war with each other, and there's rival families going to war with each other. It's a very familiar premise and concept. And yeah, that's basically the setup to this movie. David Lynch, like I said, not my kind of director. I think he does a really solid job here. And we're coming off of Star Wars and Return of the Jedi, so I understand the studios want to create the next big sci-fi epic, fantasy, action, adventure film. This is not that movie. This is not that story. Dune itself as a novel is very dense and very intellectual in nature, just as far as its sci-fi lore and mythology. It is not a Star Wars. These are not playing in the same sandbox. As far as their themes and just how they tell their story, it is not in the same ballpark at all. But you could tell that the studio really wanted to create the next Star Wars, which I'm sure a lot of people rolled into that theater thinking it was going to be the next Star Wars and were very disappointed. So just getting into that, the budget of this movie was $42 million and the box office was only $37.9. So this movie was a bomb back in 1984. So I guess a lot of people did not roll into the theaters back then. But yeah, it was a bomb for sure. It made less than it cost. And I'm sure they put a lot of money into the marketing. I'm sure they wanted it to be that next Star Wars, and it wasn't. So yeah, like I said, this is not, the story is not Star Wars. I don't know what David Lynch could have done with the story to make it a Star Wars. But first off, David Lynch as a director for this movie, you're hiring a David Lynch, maybe not the best director to do that. He has a very weird and obscure and bizarre in nature and sensibility about him as a director. And at this point, he had done Eraserhead, he had done The Elephant Man. They don't strike me as the type of films that a studio would look at and be like, I want you to create the next Star Wars. But again, an interesting choice. And I actually don't think that Lynch does a bad job here with this material. I think he does a pretty solid job directing the material at hand and doing his best to adapt this very dense story and concept. I mean, the movie itself is only like 2 hours and 20 minutes. It does feel very rushed. It doesn't really feel like it's fleshed out in a lot of different elements. I feel like we're introduced to a bunch of characters. We're set up with a bunch of exposition all at once, and then we just kind of get into the finale. And it takes a long time for them to get through all of this exposition and character setup. And by the time that they do that, they don't have any time left to really complete and tell this story. And that's what I felt like it was missing. It just set everything up. And then you had the finale, and the finale was what it was. It was a bunch of people riding on sandworms, and it was strange, but I guess appropriate for this universe. I mean, what are you going to do with this material back in 1984? But yeah, it definitely makes me very intrigued on just what Denis Villeneuve is going to do with this. And I have to think that he's going to do a better job. And I'm not saying Denis Villeneuve's a better director than David Lynch. I personally would say that, but I know a lot of people love their David Lynch films. But I think Denis Villeneuve's like the best director that's working today. So if anybody's going to pull off this material in the best way possible, it's going to be him. So I'm very interested in, after seeing this movie, seeing Villeneuve's version and adaptation, and seeing what he does with certain characters and elements of this story. So it's definitely very fascinating to me. But as far as like the performances, I thought that they were decent. You know, they're definitely don't age the best. I thought that McLachlan actually did a pretty good job in the role of Paul Atreides. And I could see just in his performance, I could see Timothée Chalamet pulling off like the same type of performance. Like they feel very interchangeable as far as like their acting and charisma and overall swagger in this role. I can just see Chalamet doing pretty much the exact same thing as McLachlan does in this film. So I think he'll bring a little bit more to it. But still, like I thought he did a really good job. But everybody in this movie, he felt the most serious. He felt like he was taking the material the most seriously and giving the best performance. Everybody else felt like a borderline kind of cartoon character a little bit with the performance. Max von Sydow, another exception. I thought he was really good in it. But Patrick Stewart, as great as he is in a lot of stuff, I don't know, not his best performance, I don't think. And yeah, Brad Dourif's in this. Sting is ridiculous. I don't know who the villain's name is. I didn't write it down, but he's completely outlandish and ridiculous. And yeah, there's just a lot of ridiculous elements of this movie that don't age the best. Special effects I thought were pretty good. They held up pretty nicely. I mean, there is a moment that I actually took a video clip of on my phone and put it on my Instagram, where Patrick Stewart comes in and wants to get in a little scrimmage with Paul and they both turn into these like block CGI things, and they start sword fighting each other, and it's very strange. It looks like PS1 level graphics, and it didn't look the best. It did not look the best. Other than that, though, I thought the special effects, the makeup effects were incredible in this. I thought everything looked really great as far as that was concerned. The set design I thought was absolutely incredible. I thought like, you know, you have this great like old school, like palace, kings and queens, royal type of settings, like within this sci-fi universe. So I thought all of that, this melded together pretty nicely, and it created a pretty cool visual aesthetic for the film. You also got the score. The score in this movie is fantastic. I don't think I've ever heard it before, but I absolutely loved the score in this film. I thought it was really great. Really great science fiction score, just kind of fantasy epic score. You really felt that epic tone throughout the movie thanks to the music and the score. So overall, guys, there was a lot of hype going into me watching this. A lot of people saying this movie was terrible. A lot of people saying that they really enjoyed the movie. I didn't think it was terrible. I honestly, I didn't think it was as bad as everybody that dislikes this movie was hyping it up to be. It's not great. It's definitely not a great movie, and I think that we're going to get the definitive adaptation of Dune with Denis Villeneuve this fall. But it's not a bad 80s movie. It's not a bad 80s science fiction movie. It's not Star Wars. Don't go into this movie thinking that it is. But yeah, it's not bad. I'll give this movie a 3 out of 5. I think it's middle of the road. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. And I'm not disappointed that I own the movie now. I'm happy to have this in my collection. I can honestly see myself watching this movie again down the road and maybe possibly changing my opinion about it, maybe liking it even more and just appreciating some of the better qualities of the film, because I actually think that there are a lot of positive things about this movie that I just discussed. So yeah, I enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed the movie. So let's get into the transfer, which is the real meat of this release. You know, it's a new 4K transfer from Arrow Video, and they've been known to do fantastic work in 4Ks. I've been talking up the Django box set all year long. That's a great 4K release. The Tremors was a great 4K release. They've been doing some stellar work. This is a brand new 4K restoration from the original camera negative. Guys, this is another home run from Arrow. I'm telling you right now, this movie looked excellent. This movie looked excellent. And you got the green colors of like the Galactic Emperor's kind of laboratory setting or whatever they're in. And yeah, then you go out to the sand dunes, the sun-drenched sand dunes, and just some of the images there. Like, there's just such great colors in this movie. And I just thought it looked fantastic. The facial detail is incredible. Arrow's just been knocking it out of the park with these 4K releases all year long. The only one that they didn't was Donnie Darko, and I still thought that that one looked really good. It wasn't a home run for me like this one was, like Django was, like Tremors. They're just doing some of the best work. And yeah, guys, if you really love this movie, this is one of your favorites from the 80s. You're gonna see this in the best way possible. As far as the sound, guys, like I said, I'm just listening to this on a soundbar. But with this one, you are getting the original uncompressed stereo audio and DTS HD MA 5.1 surround audio. So you are not getting the Dolby Atmos with this release. So I know a lot of people it's going to be disappointing, but like I said, I still thought, you know, it sounded good to me because I don't have this setup, but I can fully understand why some people that had the full setup would be disappointed in that. So getting into the packaging, guys, just another stellar job on the packaging, guys. You have the case right here, this leather, this almost like leather bound case, this really hard box case, sturdy shell case right here. It's just such incredible work by Arrow Video. You got an awesome little booklet in here with tons of stuff about the movie and pictures from the film. You have this case right here with the reversible cover art. You have all of these cards inside. Awesome disc art. You get this poster right here. I'm going to try to show this, guys, to you real quick because it does have two sides to it. I did show it off in the unboxing, but I want to make sure I show it here as well because I don't feel like I got a good look at it in the unboxing last week. But yeah, just the packaging, man, Arrow's just knocking it out of the park. Nobody does better packaging than Arrow Video. Now, as far as the special features, guys, you do have on disc 1, the actual 4K disc itself, You are getting a lot of the special features from the previously released DVD sets and Blu-ray sets from years past. You do have a brand new audio commentary from film historian Paul M. Salmon, a brand new audio commentary by Mike White in the Projection Booth podcast, Impressions of Dune, which is a 2003 documentary of the making of the film, featuring interviews with star Kyle MacLachlan, producer Rafael de Laurentiis, and cinematographer Freddie Francis, editor Anthony Gibbs, and many others. So you also get another 2005 featurette. So a lot of documentaries, a lot of interviews, but they're all like past interviews. But you do get those new audio commentaries as well. So as far as this too, I know that this might be a little disappointing to some, but you don't get a Blu-ray version of this to watch. So on the Blu-ray disc that it does have is only these special features. So there's no movie on the Blu-ray disc. The movie is only on the 4K disc. So on disc 2, it's just the bonus disc, but these are where you get the new special features. So you get Beyond Imagination, Merchandising Dune, a brand new featurette exploring the merchandise created to promote the film, featuring toy collector producer Brian Stillman from the Toys That Made Us. So yeah, this was a really interesting documentary because it really goes into how Dune and Star Wars came out around the same time. And Star Wars was notorious for being the first movie that actually made money off of toys. First movie to have a licensing deal with toys. And of course, Lucas notoriously started the licensing deal thing with his toys. And they gave him like, I forget what the percentage was, but it was a very high percentage, something they don't do now. And he's made billions of dollars off of toys because he had that foresight to know that people would just eat up the Star Wars toys. So it was interesting how they were talking about how after that, every single movie franchise wanted a toy line, and just talking about how hard it was to market the movie Dune as far as like a toy line and making toys for kids for a movie like this, which I can absolutely see because, like I said, Dune and Star Wars are completely different. These are not the same type of movies, but they made the toys for them. And I mean, they did a lot with a lot of different mature franchises back in the day. I'm pretty sure Predator had toys and stuff like that, but really interesting special feature. They also have a special feature about scoring Dune. They have new interviews and stuff with makeup effects artists and stuff. So yeah, 4 new interviews. You got those 2 documentaries about scoring and the merchandising Dune. So yeah, some really good new special features here as well, guys. So overall, at the end of the day, guys, it's going for $42.99 right now. I believe on Amazon and some other websites as well. You can probably purchase it from Scifi. Also, I think overall, if you're a fan of this movie, and even if you're just a mild fan of the movie, like I'm not the biggest fan of it after watching it, but I'm still really happy to have this in my collection. I say you should absolutely own this. It looks fantastic as far as like an 80s sci-fi epic. It looks incredible. It's just one of the best 4K transfers I've seen all year. Again, Arrow did it again. They just keep continuing to do it, and they're just the best at it. So great transfer. It doesn't have Dolby Atmos, so I know some people will be disappointed in that. The packaging is incredible. The features, got some really great new special features. You got the old special features. So overall, guys, this is just a fantastic release by Arrow Video, and one I would absolutely recommend. Like I said, I enjoyed the movie, gave it a 3 out of 5. So I appreciate everybody watching this review of Dune. If you can, please like this video. Also, comment down below your thoughts on Dune and whether or not you're going to be picking this one up. I will be leaving the link for purchase down in the description below. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Turn on those bell notifications for all of those future videos, and we'll see you later.